I feel better when you buy me.
Okay. Can they see you very well?
You tell me. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Straight Talk with Grover Thornton. The mission of this show is to educate, inspire, and to inform you how government works, national, state, and local, and the impact it has on all of our lives. Tonight, I will be talking first about the Brown versus Board education. Tuesday would be 68 years since the Supreme Court, May 17, 1954, ruled that segregation in the public schools in this nation is unconstitutional. And of course, after that decision, the fireworks started. Let me refresh your mind for a moment when I told you, I think it was the last show, about the Plessy case, in which Homer Plessy was a man that sat in a coach on a train reserved for whites. The only blacks in there were the ladies who were taking care of the children. He refused to move, and he was arrested. And a case was filed in the Supreme Court, and the court unjustly delivered a decision, separate but equal. And it was always separate, but never equal. Thurgood Marshall and the NAACP fought within the courts to integrate the colleges. We're not going to deal with the colleges tonight, but we're going to talk about for a few minutes what went on in this book here. Can you see this book? Brown versus Board education. And it's a wonderful book to read the struggle that sacrifices were made. It started first in Camden County, South Carolina. Thurgood Marshall said, now we fought the colleges, now we're going to deal with the secondary education. There was a man by the name of Briggs. He and his wife lived in this small town, Camden County, South Carolina. And their children went to a school that was terrible. They went to a school in which unequal things happened to them. For instance, to give you an example, let's look at the whites versus the African Americans in that county in the school system. They had an expenditures of $673,850 per capita, and they only paid $43 per black child and $179 per white student. Look how, is that equal? This country has been a country of hypocrisy. So Thurgood Marshall, along with Mr. Briggs, he told them, get me 20 people to sign this petition, and I will file this into the federal courts. So he did. But Mr. Briggs and his wife, they really suffered. They had a lot of economic pressure on them. He worked at a filling station for many years, and he was fired. His wife worked at a motel, making up the beds and cleaning up the motel. She was fired from her job. The other 18 or 19 people, they suffered economic reprisals. They couldn't borrow money. They had farms. They couldn't get no money for equipment. They really suffered. And we don't know the suffering many people had to do for us to enjoy the little freedom that we have today. So Thurgood Marshall argued the case within the district court with a judge named Mr. Warren. He was a strict Southerner, but he changed. And he moved the case forward, and he was able to file a case within the Supreme Court of the United States. Thurgood Marshall in 1952 appeared before the Supreme Court, and he said words to this effect, that of all the multitude of people in this nation, why was the Negro set aside and given this terrible treatment? So when the 54 decision came down, then that was the foundation and the basis for eliminating segregation. And of course, they didn't arbitrarily stop. It was worse. Right here in Savannah, Georgia, we didn't have violence, but they ran like crazy over at Jenkins High School demonstrating. I just can't understand this. And black folk give their lives to this country. I will never understand this country, never will. This little young girl right here, I keep this young girl 6 years old. The way they did her. A white lady had came from Boston. The teacher, they pulled all the white children out of the schools. She came from Boston and to teach this little girl in first grade. Unbelievable. In a country that was supposed to be a country, the cradle of democracy all over the world. And 20% of their citizens were given second-class citizenship. This country has no ruling class. This country has no caste system. Everyone is supposed to be equal up under the law. But it was never this way. And I want people to understand how important it is to vote. We could not even vote in the Democratic primary. This is something new. You could only vote for the president. This is something new, started in 1948. It was the Primus case, where a man and two men, one named Brewster and the other one named Primus. And Dr. Gilbert, who was the pastor of the NAACP for many years in Savannah, started the NAACP, went all over the state, raising money to fight this case, the Primus case. And in 1948, that's when we first were able to vote in the Democratic primary. Like we getting ready to vote on the 24th of May? No such thing until 1948. Terrible in America. Keep that in mind. Democracy. Keep that in mind. So this case went on to the people in this nation, and we really suffered. And they spent all this money throughout the nation, in the South, on white children. The black children didn't even have a bus to ride on in Cabot County. They walked to school, while the white children had less students and they had all the opportunity. They rode the buses to school. The black children had to walk. Now, and these were the states in which Thurgood Marshall and NAACP filed a suit against them. And it was South Carolina, Virginia, Kansas, Delaware, and the District of Columbia, Washington, D.C., to integrate the schools in this nation. People could come from other countries with their children and could go to any schools. But we who built this country, our forefathers built this country, got nothing for their labor. Like Lincoln said, toil without reward is what happened to us 400-something years as slaves in this nation. Now, I want to say that from time to time, there were other things in this book that I will be bringing forward to let you know. And when I tell you about some of these books, ladies and gentlemen, Get some of these books and read to your children. Read these books to learn what had happened. Evidently, this was 68 years since the Supreme Court decision in 1954. But the average person doesn't even know that. I guarantee you would find 15 or 20 people around you that know about the Brown versus Board of Education, because it has been 68 years. 68 years since this decision. And of course, we couldn't have really, they had the busing. And to stop all the busing because of the terrible housing laws where we couldn't live where we wanted to live. They make no difference what your score was, what your economic condition was. You could not live in a certain place. Like in Windsor Parish, where I moved one time, they had a covenant. No African American or a person of African descent could buy a property in this part of the country and in this city. And the NAACP had to fight to get that done in 1968, the open housing law. So it's been a lot of struggle for black people, and we're still struggling. I was looking at the TV the other day, and they were talking about the median income for a black family and a white family. Well, the median income, I don't know how they compute that, whether they take so many hours of work, how I don't know how they come up with that decision. These people who are in the economic field, they did this. And the average, the median income for a black family is $34,000, $34,800 something dollars. The white family, $64,800 something. So you see, almost double. So they have never treated black folk fairly. And not only that, this country had never been a fair distribution of the wealth in this country. Never has. And one time they had this mess with Bush, a trickle-down economics. Trickle down. I mean, you get the last what's left. And like Trump gave all the business people $1 trillion tax cut. And you have to pay the same thing for a loaf of bread or a piece of steak as a man who says he's worth $129 billion. So this fair economics. But when the decision came down in 1954, that swept away segregation in this nation. And I want you all to know that we did not become a citizen of this state, this nation, until 1868, when the 14th Amendment to the Constitution was passed. The 13th Amendment was passed in 1865 after the Civil War, and 1868, the decision to bring the 14th Amendment. Now, everybody's using the 14th Amendment to the Constitution. They talk about that with this abortion business going on. But if I have time enough at the night, I will talk about that. And I'll show you the actual part of the 14th Amendment and the 9th Amendment, which they're trying to use, saying that abortion was taking a right away from women. But tonight also, I will bring you again at our next show. I was talking about. Let me just make this last statement about the folks about the Brown versus Board of Education. There was a man named Kenneth Clark. I think his right name was Mamie. They were psychologists. So the NAACP used them to stress to the court how segregation, discrimination psychologically affect young children. So let me show you what they experienced that they did do. They took 4 dolls, 2 black dolls and 2 white dolls, and then they had 4 children, and they were 6 and 7 years old, and I think it was 4 years old. So they asked them several questions. They would say, they put these dolls and took these children and said, go get the prettiest doll. There were 4 dolls, 2 whites and 2 blacks. Go get the prettiest doll. They took these children and little girls and little boys, they went and grabbed the pretty doll. And they said, now go get the doll that you want to play with. And they went and got each time the white doll. Now go get the doll that you think was not nice. pretty, whatever. Each time they went and chose the white dog. They were psychologists, and they stressed upon the quote that this was a psychological bearing on black children's mind. So I thought I'd mention that to you, and that was a very good experiment that Dr. Clark and his wife did towards bringing down racism in the school system of this nation. So as we move forward into the next program, I will tell you some things that went on in this book, The Brown versus Board of Education. And you'll be shocked at some of the things that went on. And we don't know these things if nobody don't tell us these things. Now they're trying to get away with all the books. Read any book you can read. Just like in Nazi Germany, all the great Jewish authors, they would burn books. Somebody said on the TV the other day, we need to burn the books. That's Nazism, like the Nazis did. They want to burn the books. They don't want the children to read what happened. Like a white man called me one day a month or so ago, and I answered the phone, and he said, "May I speak to Mr. Thornton?" I said, "This is he. What can I do for you?" He said, "Mr. Thornton," he said, "this country," and talking about this racial theory. I said, well, hold it right there, sir. Not another step. Just listen to me. And I told him, you white people do not want the white children to read books about how bad y'all treated black people. You want to whitewash that. Well, he hung up the phone in my face. I told him enough that I didn't want to hear his foolishness about no reading of no books. Because you should read the books. Some of the white boys say, I love to read. So you get your knowledge by reading, and then you make your decisions what's proper and what's not proper. I hate to say this today on the show, but I'll have to say it. Not long ago, I cut the television on, and some boy, y'all might have seen it now by now, in Buffalo, New York, went into a supermarket, all dressed up in gear, had on a breast protector, all that, keep them getting shot. Went in there and killed 10 people in the grocery store. So you better look around when you go to the store. Look around your surroundings because you never know. And he was drilled in white supremacy. Terrible. And the supermarket is located, according to the TV, located in a predominantly black area. So he went there to kill black people. All of that because they don't want people to enjoy the rights that everybody ought to have in this nation, according to the Declaration of Independence and to the Constitution. And now, like I said, they're taking the 14th Amendment, a portion of it, using that to get the rights that they think they should be entitled to. And another thing, when you think about this, that of course, when you think about this situation I'm telling you about, you got to keep this in mind. That we got to stay alert at all times. Police brutality. All of this. Over 500 black men lynched. And how can anybody fight to keep lynching? But they did it. They did it. Biden just signed a law anti-lynching. And they lynched over 500 men in the South. Keep in mind now, this is supposed to be a country with the democracy. Like I read in the book, when they say, I can't sing, no, my country tells of the sweet land of liberty. How can I sing that? It does not apply to me. So I just had to say that today, talking about this 14th Amendment to the Constitution and about the Brown versus Board of Education. And I will, at the next time, you'll be surprised, I will talk about some of the things in this book. Now, as you all know, this is a year of election. The election will be held in this city May the 24th. And I have some guests this day, and I will say to my visiting audience who are not in this particular area in Savannah, Georgia, I want you to bear with us because this election does not affect you, but certainly some of these same things that these people will be talking about is universal. So I appreciate you listening. And at this time, we're going to bring some of our candidates who are running for office. And the first one I want to talk to is Mrs. Attorney Joyce Griggs. Is she on link?
Right there in front of you.
Joyce Griggs, Miss Griggs.
Let's see here. Is Ms. Briggs here?
I don't see her picture here.
Go to the next one. Is Paul Smith here?
Is Mr. Paul Smith here? Reverend Paul Smith?
Yes, sir.
Good evening, Reverend. How are you this evening?
Outstanding, good sir. How are you?
Pretty good. Mr. Smith came to my home and sat in my office with me. He and I had a long talk on a lot of issues. And I was impressed with a lot of things he said. Reverend Smith, tell us something about yourself so this community can hear you firsthand, or what some of the things you like to do, and why do you want to be the winner and come into this community as a person of the 5th District. And incidentally, you'll be representing me. I live in the 5th District. So
awesome.
Nice to have you on the program.
Yes, sir.
And take it away. Tell us then why you want to be the winner of this show.
Yes, sir. Well, first, let me start off by saying thank you for allowing me to come on this show, and to all of the other candidates as well as audience members. I'm glad to be here. My name is Paul Smith. I am a native of Savannah, Georgia. I am a proud member of the Liberty City community. I am blessed to say I am a product of the Savannah Chatham County Public School System, a graduate of AE Beach High School. Go Bulldogs. Go Bulldogs.
I'm a Bulldog too.
I am blessed to say that I am a graduate of Savannah State University, the University by the Sea. On last week, I became a graduate of Morehouse College in Atlanta, Georgia, with my master's degree. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I am excited about this campaign and this race because I've had the opportunity of working over 7 years in higher education. I've had the opportunity of identifying the needs that students have so that they can be successful in the higher education realm. One of those things would be reading comprehension. That's something that I'm passionate about, something that I want to work towards. I want to see us secure universal pre-K, as well as just see our students be able to go from one stage to the next in a safe environment. In this day and age, safety is a high priority topic. As a pastor, I serve my church. As a second lieutenant, I serve my country. And on May 24th, I would like to start serving the 5th District as school board member. I'm asking for your vote. I'm soliciting your support as we secure a quality education for all of our students.
Let me ask you this, Reverend. I know you have not served on the board. You have not served on the board. You're attempting to be on the board, but I'm sure you have spoken to several members of the board. I talked to one lady on the board, and she interviewed you, and she was extremely impressed with you. And I'd like to say you have been called as the pastor of Bethlehem Baptist Church.
Yes, sir.
I'm going to say about one of your predecessors, Reverend Scott Stale, was the first African American on the county commission.
Yes, sir.
They have a park named in his honor out on 17. And Reverend Stale also filed a suit to integrate the schools here in Savannah. So you moving into a church with a lot of history.
Yes, sir.
And he was a fine man. I had the opportunity to work on his campaign once or twice. And he was a great leader in this community.
Yes, sir.
And let me ask you one more question. What seems, as far as your platform concerned, what is the most important thing that you would like to achieve?
It's hard to identify the most important thing because there's so many important things. As I've stated before, when we look at the safety issue of our community, in the past 2 weeks, there have been 3 shootings and killings, and 2 of them have taken place in the 5th District. Safety is vitally important. I am passionate about the education as far as reading comprehension for our students. I want to see us secure universal pre-K so that we can grab a hold to our students and start cultivating their minds and cultivating their thinking at an early age, so that they can be on the right level by third grade, and so that they could follow through each and every grade level thereafter. And I want to make sure I make reference to this. You brought up the predecessor of my church, Bethlehem, Miss Irene Hines, who has served for 17, 18 years in this wonderful seat for the 5th District. She is retiring and she is endorsing me. I would like to tell her thank you for a job well done, for putting the 5th District in a great space so that I could run the next mile with it. So those are the important things in my cabinet right now: universal pre-K, as well as safety and reading comprehension.
And I know you have been asking things around, especially since you want to serve on the board. What do you think about our present superintendent?
Our present superintendent is Dr. Ann Levette, and I believe that she is doing a great job. I believe that she's doing an awesome job, and I would like to support her in these efforts and continue to support her as she continues to work and do the best things for our community and our children.
Thank you very much, Reverend, and I do hope you very much success as you run your campaign.
Thank you, sir.
The guest I want to bring to us today is Mr. David Brinkman. How you do, sir?
Good evening. Thank you again for having me on the show tonight.
Yeah, nice to talk to you. He was in my office. He and I had a long talk. I like his views. And now what's a little different than the other candidates, he's already on the Board of Education. He's already on the Board of Education. And as I move in this discussion with these candidates, I will make a summary when I finish interviewing all of them. And I must say something about Mr. David. Mr. David, welcome to the show. And I'm glad you and I sat in my office and talked a long time, and I was really impressed with your views. And I really extremely was impressed with you working along with our wonderful present superintendent. Tell me about yourself. Let the public know something about you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Thornton. My name is Dr. David Brinkman. I am your current 6th district rep on the school board. I got to Savannah as early as I could at the age of 4. Went to Butler and Gould Elementary, Bartlett Middle School, and I as well am an Alfred Eli Beach High School graduate. So I think that's the entire show tonight. Following great footsteps there. The board could just be all Beach High grads, and I think we'd be doing a pretty good job. I am seeking re-election because I fully support what our district is doing now. We have a great team. We're going to add some new team members. But I want to make sure that we continue the work we've done over the last 4 years and to continue to create a collaborative effort to move forward. It was very poignant that you talked about the struggles for equality that African Americans have had to go through in our country. I have learned over the last 4 years on the school board that our district pushes past equality and pushes for equity. And that difference is that we don't just give every student the same thing, but we actually give students that need more the resources they need so that they can have the same ability to have the same opportunities and outcomes as a student that might not need as many resources. So I am proud to continue to support Dr. Ann Levette and her team because we systematically look at schools and at students to make sure that we create positive change that is both equal but also equitable.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now let me ask you this, sir. Since you're on the board, just give me an analysis. What do you think of the leadership of our superintendent?
I think she is building a legacy.
Excellent.
This is her legacy. This
Excellent.
is her community. She believes in every person that works for her and every student and teacher. This is not a job. And that shows in the decisions that she makes and how she thinks about how each decision will affect the entirety of our student body, our staff, our teachers, but also how that affects our community and how we can move forward to make all of those individuals better in the future.
Very well. Very well. Well, I just want to thank you for being on the show. And I hope you much success. And fact of the matter that you're already working with the board. And I want people to see that you're a white gentleman. And I have a reason why I say that later on when I do my summary.
Well, thank you,
And I
sir.
want to thank you. Thank you for the interview you and I had in my home the other day. And I'm very impressed with you. And I do know this, that Dr. Levette is doing a superb job. No question about it. I talked to several board members, some of who are not even on this show tonight. Now, the next person I have, thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Much success to your campaign. The next person I have on my list here is Mr. Ted Rhodes. How you do, sir?
I'm great. How you doing, sir?
Nice to see you. Todd Rhodes. I'm sorry, I said Ted. I apologize, sir.
Yes,
I only apologize. Well, I knew his daddy real well because his daddy served as a associate pastor of the church of which I'm a member of First African Baptist Church. And your daddy was a fine man, and not only that, your daddy succeeded the church that my pastor daddy pastored.
Yes, sir.
And when he died, Mr. Rhodes, your father was called to pastor that church. And your dad did a superb job working around First African Baptist. And you also came to my home and we sat down and talked. And I want to know some of your views and what you propose to do. Well, tell the community about yourself.
Yes, sir. Hello, everybody. My name is Todd Rhodes. I was born and raised in this beautiful city of Savannah, Georgia. I'm very active in this city. I'm very engaged. My wife and I, we have 10 children. I'm going to say it one more time for those who can't hear. We have 10 beautiful children, 8 boys and 2 girls, who are all products of the school system as well. And so far, we had three. My oldest daughter, she graduates from Jenkins High School. So my kids are at Jenkins and Hess K through 8. I love this community. I'm very engaged. I'm also a coach. I'm a youth minister. I'm a man of many hats. I'm also a coach. I have a nonprofit youth organization called the Savannah Royal Lions. So I've been very involved in this community and just ready to serve. I always had the heart to serve. And, I have also, too, I'm a business owner. I have two businesses that I own. So I'm like I said, I'm very engaged and I want to help in any way I can to make Savannah better.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes is aspiring to be the president of the board.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Buck is retiring, and your opponent is Mrs. Whiteley. I'm sorry it happened that she didn't get on the show, but I must say that she and I communicated today, and I was very impressed with some of the things that she said. But I want to ask you to just tell us why you think you want to be different from Ms. Whiteley to be chairman of the board.
Well, first and foremost, my actions speak louder than my words. I've been very involved in this community for a long time. My dad, Todd Rhodes, which is Copper Claus, everybody know him as. I grew up serving. I grew up issuing toys to the people in the communities, and it's something that I still continue to do to this day. I got it from my dad, and so I do. We do back to school giveaways. We do all type of things, trash pickups in the communities, and all type of things. So by me being engaged already in the community, and going to the trenches, being in the places nobody wants to go. Also, too, going to spending time at building bridges, for those kids who are struggling and having trouble. I care about those kids, because guess what? Let me tell you, I was once in those kids' shoes, but I had somebody who seen the gifts in me. I had someone that seen the worth in me, and they didn't give up on me. They just loved on me more. They took up time with me. And so guess what? We are now living in a time now where young people are in every direction. This world, the music, everything is just making them, choose different routes. But what we have to do, we have to love on them, and we have to tell them who they are, and we have to do that. And, Dr. Buck, also, too, because you did mention him, I have highly respect for him. He opened up the door to me, and we talked. This was in December, and we talked some other time soon after. I have highly respect for him. And I wish nothing but the best for him. I'm praying for him, for his health, that God continue to bless him and give him life and strength.
All right, and let me ask you this then. On your platform, what are the main things on your platform you would like to achieve if you be successful to win this race as the president of the board?
I'm in this race for the next generation. That's reliability, accountability, consistency, and equality. That's what I'm focusing on. And also, too, being a team player. Being a team player, working together with the team. As a coach, I won championships. And one thing I always taught the kids when we had it, started the season, is that everybody had to do their part. We all understand that we have a job to do and we work together. We don't fight. We don't fuss. We don't cuss. We don't do that to each other. That's enough of that going on. We see what that does. Division, it causes division. And we know that a house divided against itself will not stand. So knowing that, let's work together. Knowing that I got to pick my brother up. If he's down, I lift my sister up. If she, working together, teamwork makes the dream work. So we have to work together as a team. And if you don't understand teamwork, then why are you doing what you're doing?
Well, it was very nice to hear you saying the same thing that our Minister Paul said, teamwork. And I will say, as I talked with you, you were telling about your involvement with all these young people. That was very impressive to me, because these young people are the future generation of this nation, the city, and we need more people. So I would like to say to all of you all that I hope you much luck and success in your campaign. And if you are successful, then I expect for you to do what you said you're gonna do. Don't do like Kavanaugh did before the hearing for the Supreme Court, and Ms. Barrett. Both of them lied. I'm looking right on that TV, and Ms. Barrett said these words in this effect: if anybody thinks that if I get on Supreme Court, I'm going to be here to overturn Roe, then they're highly mistaken. What did she do? Exactly the opposite. Kavanaugh, here's his words in this effect, that that has been affirmed twice, and as far as I'm concerned, it's settled law. What did he do? The opposite. So don't say you're going to say one thing and do something else, either one of y'all, because I'll call you out. I definitely will call you out. Believe me when I say that. And I want to thank all of you for being here tonight on the show. And I hope all of you much success in your endeavor as you pursue. And like I said before, I had a long talk with Miss Whiteley, and her views were very good. Very good. But let me tell y'all one thing in education. When these schools, I really hate it when Governor Deal wanted to put a master over the schools that were not up to par. If there's a problem, you need to find a solution to the problem. I remember a statement from Einstein. Einstein with that great that theory on light time. He said these words: "There is a solution to every problem if you work at it and find the answer." He just didn't arbitrarily discover that theory. He worked, and every time that theory gets tested, they cannot defeat what he said. So I'm just saying to you all, and like the school, the man want to put it on somebody. If there's a problem in school, we need to work at it. And one of the problems I know with African American children, like I believe I told one of you all, I can't remember exactly, but I think it was Miss Whiteley. That's who I spoke to about it. Dr. Etheridge, who was the superintendent some years ago, he came up with a solution like this to help these children who were not achieving the best. One of the problems that we have, ladies and gentlemen, let's call a spade and be exact. One of the problems that we have when the children go home, the parents cannot help them, unfortunately. Unfortunately. Let's say if a child having a problem with fractions. They go on to mom, don't know about no fractions. How can she sit there and help the child? But Dr. Etheridge had a program like this some years ago when he was superintendent. I don't know exactly how it worked, but I can tell you what it did do. And like I told Ms. Whiteley today, he had a program set in motion. If a child went home with a fraction problem and trying to work at the homework, can't do it, that parent would call that full number and would talk to a person dealing with that problem. Had a person in each one of these areas to help the children. So I thought I'd throw that out to you people in education. I told Mrs. Whiteley that today. And it must have some good effect. When these children go home, don't have nobody to help them, then what? Then you come back to school, and then they want to put the school down. They want to put the school down like WG wanted to do. You don't do that. You find a solution with the resources and work with the children and do something about their problem when the children go home. And I tell the parents all the time on this show, like I be talking about history, talk to the parents, I read article. Grandparents, instill into your children, your grandchildren, to read. Parents, take your children to the library sometime. And I hope a lot of African American parents start doing that. But when I go to the library, I look over the children's section, I see white parents over there with their children. Take these children to the library. They can learn how to read. So, as far as education is concerned, I've always been an educator. I was a PTA president. My wife was a PTA president. My late brother and my late wife were both PTA presidents. But I had to deal when I was the president of Moses Jackson. We had cold water coolers. There were no air conditioning during that time. Our PTA got cold water coolers, and our schools were the only school in Chatham County that our students could drink cold water. But we've come a long way. But I think that is one of the solutions to our problems. I know we got a great superintendent. I don't care what nobody say. And we need a good board, like we have a good board, and we need to keep working like that. Thank Mr. Dave for being on the board. And he can express exactly what's going on. So thank you all very much for being on the show. Now I must turn to the opposition. You know, there are two ways you can do things, but right and wrong. And I'm going to speak on the wrong right now. Now, I want you to look at me and listen to me real well as I make this statement. Did y'all see this right here? Now, that's him. He good enough right there. Can y'all see him? Roger Moss. Can y'all see this? Well, you know, I don't have my big screen because I didn't have my phones. But I want them to see. Y'all can see it. Roger Moss. He's running to be president. He's running to be president of the school board. A man that, in my view, listen, let me say this. Y'all remember song by Marvin Gaye. I heard it through the grapevine. You heard that song? I mean, I've never heard it. I heard it through the grapevine. So I heard through the grapevine about this man. This man's main objective, if he wins that school board, is to get rid of our superintendent, Dr. Ann Levette, who's doing a superb job. We got to vote. Vote matters. We cannot allow that to happen. This Uncle Tom Negro is a Republican. He's backed by rich people. You tell me he got over $100,000 in his coffers, but his main objective is say that if he got that board, he gonna get rid of Dr. Levette, a woman who's doing a superb job in the system. And then this white man, I told you I had him in for a reason. He's being challenged by a no good Republican Negro boy, man. I'm sorry to say, boy, he's a man. I apologize. He's challenging him. This man is already on the board doing a superb job with Dr. Levette. You heard him testify the type of leadership he's given to this community. We, ladies and gentlemen, Chatham County, we cannot allow that to happen. I despise Uncle Tom. Nobody put me in the hip pocket. And the name of my show is Straight Talk, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. We got to denounce him, denounce all Republicans because they belong to a cult.
What's his name?
The man's name is Roger Moss. No, everybody in Savannah probably done got one of these things. And I want people to spread the word, get on the phone. I told you I heard through the grapevine what he's going to do. Now he has, from what I can understand, he has charter schools. He has charter schools. Now, when you have a charter school, a lot of people are against the charter school. I'm against them because what it does, it takes away the money from the public schools. But when it comes to selection of students through the grapevine, he picks only those students that able to achieve highly. We don't need nobody like that. All children are the same. We work to bring those down up. We can't allow this man to take this position. We must stop him. We must. Dr. LeVan is doing a great job. Why would he want to bring her down? And I told y'all last month that the Republican Party is a cult being operated by a cult, delusional man, Donald Trump, delusional. Behind the world, just like Adolf Hitler. That's the way they deal with him. Delusional. He wants to be in power, so he wants to overturn the government. And why, like the man said the other day on the television, why are these people still walking around when they try to overturn the government? They ought to be in jail, including Trump. That's where they need to be. So let us vote. Let us not let this happen to Dr. LeVan. But that's what he wants to do. He has no interest in trying to do anything constructive. He is destructive. I don't know him, but like I said, I heard this through the grapevine, and got to be true. The way there's fire, when a lot of talk there's fire, then you know that's true. Because I heard nothing but bad things about him and what he intends to do and want to do with the school system. The lady doing a superb job. Dr. Lockerman was my friend. And he used to go to church with me. Now, if it's about the money, they didn't say that when he was making all that much money. Why? Because she's a black woman making the money. If she does the job, that's all that matters. And she is doing the job. Highly qualified. Leadership. And we can't let him, this Uncle Tom man, destroy this good lady and mess up the school system. I don't care which one of y'all win, but we must move forward with this lady. They're doing a superb job. And reject him. I just want to say I had to say these things to you all because that was on my mind. And I speak my mind. I do. And I like to work for my young, everything we do is for the unborn black children that has not even been born. They will be the beneficiaries of all our struggle, all our efforts. Those children that have not been born. And how can you sell our children that have not born is beyond me. That Clarence Thomas on the Supreme Court, never one time, I followed his record, never one time has he voted to enhance and uplift black people. Vote against redistricting. He went to Yale on affirmative action. Then he voted against affirmative action at Michigan University School of Law. That's him. He was the recipient of affirmative action. Like Thurgood Marshall said, a black snake would bite you just as a white snake would do. So that's me, ladies and gentlemen. I'm me. I just like to tell the truth about things. And we have to work, make things better for our children. And we got a good leader in our superintendent. And let's not fail her. Let's reject him. So I want to thank all our guests tonight. I want to thank all of our guests for listening to me on the show. And if you have any questions, Ms. Gunn, who assists me, would you give the number that they can call?
912.
You can call this number here to make any kind of response to the show. I take constructive criticism. I'm going to be truthful. You may not agree with me, but I'm going to tell it like it is. And the number is 912-413-0999. I'm going to say it again. 912-413-0999. And this show is over for the night and for next month. And I look forward to again coming to inform you on things that would educate you, inspire you, and will be a benefit to all of us. So thank you very much, guests, again. Thank the guests for coming. Thank the audience for listening. And I'll be willing to listen and read your responses. Thank you again, and good night. And in closing, I would say this, that we must continue to struggle. We must continue to work, hope, pray. Because in the end, our unborn children, and those alive today are the beneficiary of all of our efforts and all of our work. Thank you very much, and good night.
Thank you for having us. Good night.
like this.